This video is intended to describe a lightblade ring named Exponential Expansion. Joining me today will be my whimsical stick figure chakra map for Visual Stimulation Guide Reference Q. And without further ado, get straight into it. So the foundation of the ring itself is set on 925 silver, actually as an adjustable ring, so it can actually be adjusted to whatever finger to be worn on that the recipient feels called to at a moment's notice based on intuitive guidance, which gives it a great versatility and flexibility of utilization for the practitioner's endeavors of service to creation, essentially. And the foundation of the ring actually is set on a dragon, which is a very powerful spirit animal totem, if you would, to the recipient that is very dear to the heart, and has a fantastic piece of amber as the foundation seen right here. Amber, though not technically a mineral, has been a metaphysical crystalline ally utilized for a very long time as well to be a fantastic transmuter of negativity into positivity. Essentially, it is prehistoric tree sap that has been fossilized or basically crystallized, so to speak, that has a fantastic sunny solar plexus stimulation that turns negativity into positivity by taking negativity and transmuting it into a very useful energy pattern. So that'd be just the foundation of the lightblade ring exponential expansion before me as a dragon, with amber mounted into the natural structure that was the basic ring before this augmentation of heavy high yield construct for power to size came to exist for this notarization. So I'll go ahead and discuss the blade bands seen right here. So oftentimes, the light blade concept, of course, is the structure of a blade band that is a vibratory ignition sequence in a closed loop circuit, producing a ignition sequence or a blade of emanation light. Starting off with an exotic variation of the tried and true transmutation ratio, seen right here as the underblade band right here. Starting off with hematite to be a tremendous iron-based grounder of all excess energy through the root into the earth stars and into the earth for reprocessing. It also is fantastic for taking all excessive high-frequency energies and firmly grounding it into the earth, which will be a very important contingency for this little powerhouse of extreme, like I said, power to size output vibratory ratio is very aggressive in its nature for that purpose. Then going into smoky quartz seen right here. Smoky quartz, another fantastic transmuter negativity by grounding all the excess energy of the auric field through the root into the earth stars, into the earth for reprocessing. So those two together are the traditional transmutation ratio I've been employing for quite a while for many various constructs to have a very important aspect of A, of course, purifying the energy by firmly grounding to Mother Earth for reprocessing, and B, take all the excess energies of other frequencies and ground it to, of course, bring tangibility to the magic, is the aspect of it, actually these vibrations, making it real into the earth. And this exotic variety of the transmutation ratio actually has iron pyrite installed as the third ignition sequence before it completes its cycle. Iron pyrite is a fantastic metal iron-based frequency of a more golden nature, also known as fool's gold, to be a tremendous solar plexus stimulant and also director of frequency energy, which is very useful for the designated purpose of this construct. So you can think of hematite being more androgynous yin and yang, feminine and masculine, variety of the metal-based trio to ground all excess energy, while iron pyrite is quite masculine yang in nature to actually be a very powerful directive force, which would be very helpful for the grounding of the success yield device, which I have not mentioned nearly half of the construct so far with its complexities and high vibratory nature that can be worn as a ring. And that'll be very helpful in further directing the excess current into form and focus through the intention and consciousness assisted technology platform in ring format of the recipient's energies, of course. So that'd be the first blade band down here, and up top right here would be a rather exotic blade band of clear quartz to serve as a neutral accelerator of the energy in the closed loop circuit, going into blue petersite. And a fifth attack just saying that. So Petersite is quite the powerful dynamic frequency, which, as a joking term, I can consider to be Tiger's Eye's very ambitiously aggressive cousin. That is quite the powerful, potent powerhouse. Petersite has a very dramatic stimulation to the entire chakra column. Hence, it's also called the Tempest Stone, the Stone of Storms. Pretty aggressive. And of course, today actually a storm is happening. Coincidence? I like it. Incidentally. And so Petersite is a very powerful, particularly in the blue range, very powerful third eye stimulant, as well as a dramatic solar plexus stimulant and the entire light body as a whole, which is very energizing, very physically stimulating as well, which is very, very intensive. So it's one of those frequencies I utilize quite sparingly based on the vibratory emanation output of such a dramatic, powerful frequency that can really, of course, churn up all the hidden corners of the auric field of one's true dharmic template, much like Moldavite in that capacity, which actually is present here, momentarily being mentioned. And as a quick preface before I continue the Petersite dissertation, there are many other high-frequency components to this entire central core, which I'll notorize momentarily. And the reason I'm kind of laughing is that the ambitiously compact, intensive yield of this device obviously is just pretty opulent, I guess you could say, when it comes to vibratory output. So, pardon my digression, back on topic, blue Petersite. So like I mentioned, the aspect of it being such a powerful light body activator also stimulates the entire chakra column, but the aspect of Petersite is quite fascinating. It's very, very, very tremendously insightful for instant, almost quantum file access knowledge, where the intuition becomes so sharp so quick that the aspect of the ego-mind identity actually has a hard time performing the committee aspect of doubt, because the confidence it induces is so powerful for the insights being so clear so quickly under this Tempest Stone frequencies emanation when in play, that the instantaneous, almost intuitive answers are so quickly answered that there's not much room for the doubts to basically serve as interference to the recipient's highest guidance connection to creation. And there's other aspects to this whole construct that support that theme, but I, of course, must not digress on Petersite, because it is, of course, that is the primary blade band of the entire construct for a good reason. And so Petersite's range is quite dramatic in aspects of magic work as well as intensification of insights simultaneously, and like I mentioned, a tremendously aggressive full light body activator that stimulates the entire chakra column, which of course does consist a stimulation to physical energy as well. Hence its utilization on light tech is not that prolific because of its intensive zingy energy it produces, which is quite the mover and shaker, to put it lightly. So, Petersite is quite fantastic in the aspects of a true spiritual aspirant who's quite serious about their endeavors in service to creation. Hence, this has been commissioned into existence. And that's just the blade bands, of course, that take the excess energy of everything else and recirculate for perpetual recirculate energetic momentum in a circular closed-loop circuit. That, of course, is a ring, that is a construct that can be worn on a finger to be dramatically intensive based on the recipient's guidance of which finger to put it on, which has its own particular stimulation points, which I will omit because that's getting a little off topic. The big prerogative here is the full dissertation notarization of the crystalline composition. Anyhow, so I'll start off with the main heart of the construct. So inside these blade bands is a clear quartz point seen right there. Clear quartz is a fantastic neutral ambient resonant frequency that serves to make this construct indeed consciousness-assisted technology in the capacity of resonance and impulses of magic from the higher self of the wielder being discharged into this circuit that for the receptivity of one's impulses of energy, which can be considered magic for projection's sake. Anyhow, then next to that would be white selenite mounted to the clear quartz. Selenite is by itself is a very fantastic 6th, 7th, 8th, all the non-physical chakra stimulants, which is a fantastic boon to one's conscious self-awareness in tandem with the higher self, and by itself could be considered a tremendous vibrational master healer of the mineral kingdom to have that high frequency induction of divinity actually run through the connection of the source point and work to burn off stagnant energies through the entire auric field in its own right. But the aspect also I always talk about in light tech, and its pivotal importance, is taking this entire frequency pitch band with the selenite being mentioned. It can, of course, in a closed loop reactive circuit, purify all these frequencies mentioned and yet to be mentioned. It can amplify, intensify all these frequencies, and perhaps most importantly, harmonize and bring equilibrium to this entire construct. So that is what I always call the triumphant trifecta of a truly tremendous spirit tool, or lightblade device. So that be, of course, the selenite, which also is water soluble, which means it actually is weak to water, so I would not recommend wearing this washing your hands, just for dissertation's sake, which would compromise the vibrational structure of this intended device. Okay. Anyways, so right here next to the selenite and the clear quartz seen here also is a bolt of black kyanite. So kyanites are the most rapid energy transfers in the mineral kingdom, and also works as a great black ray contingency to take this excess heelless device and ensure the grounding contact patch when being worn grounds through the root chakra, the earth stars, into the earth for reprocessing, much like the transmutation ratio. Yet the kyanite spectrum also is very fantastic for rapidly bridging energies and, of course, to ground the energy into the earth, most importantly, at a very reactive rate at the requirement of the highest good of the wielder, which is a very complex subject, which I will admit. But the big aspect, too, of black kyanite being the sole kyanite used here also works as a tremendous surge protector to ensure the grounded arc bypass into the earth is always ensured no matter the conditions, and of course to be another layer to bridge that energy into the earth very quickly to indeed make the magic real. Okay, so this next section will be discussing the components that are wire wrapped to the selenite, to the clear quartz, that are technically the ring blade face of the construct on the internal structure right here, which are quite exotic and fast. That's why once again I kind of have a slight giggle for what I'm about to notarize. Is pretty ambitious, to put it nicely. So down here at the very end right here, this actually is a small piece of fulgurite, which is petrified lightning striking sand. What that means, that's literally the power of lightning crystallized, striking sand, holding that lightning frequency, which is a very tremendously powerful lightning force, full light brightening from top to bottom, as well as being a tremendously well-utilized First Nation shaman spirit tool to intensify with lightning force their prayers back to Creator, utilizing medicine or magic in service to the people or creation or whatever their magical endeavors called them to do. So that was a well-utilized shamanic tool from that time period that has now been wire-wrapped to a closed-loop reactive circuit that technically is a ring. And so that also works to dramatically lightning force intensify the manifestation capacities of this output. Then, next to that is moldavite. A small little piece of moldavite is mounted right here, which is a tremendous green ray, storm elemental, heart stimulant, chakric activation to one's highest dharmic template source alignment very rapidly, very swiftly. Moldavite is quite potent and quite famous these days in Asia, also even notorious for its extremely high vibratory yield of bringing one's heart alignment to their absolute dharmic connection in manifest in 3D. And it does not take prisoners, and it is a cosmic swift kick in the pants towards one's highest destiny realized very quickly. Hence, it's getting a bit of a bad rap or infamy for destroying the false self matrix of one's false self ideals that perpetually hold up in divisitory aspect to source energy creation. So this also can be considered a stone of the Holy Grail for that matter, to be a tremendous source alignment frequency. See if I can get an angle for the video dissertation. So next to the moldavite would be its golden ray cousin, Libyan gold tektite. Libyan gold tektite was a fantastic gold ray stone utilized by the pharaohs of old to be carved into scarab beetles that would be the centerpiece of their finery breastplates. That was indeed indicative to the regalia that was badge of their office as, once again, magi god kings who had the divine right to be of service and ruling by divine resonance. which is a very cool historical fact. But the aspect of Libyan gold tektite is it's also a tremendous fire energy, solar plexus, and sacral stimulant that also has a full light by activation, which is perhaps the most powerful golden ray of illumination energy in the mineral kingdom with the meteoric force that it produces. And so it's a tremendously powerful manifestation agent as well as a massive dharmic accelerant in connection to one's creation, particularly in tandem with its cousin multivite. I mean, at least vibrationally speaking, cousin. So the two together, much like Hetchman fries, a fantastic combination to intensify that dynamic yield to one's spiritual dharmic template in a ring format. Then next to that, bring further cosmic energy output would be black tektite. Black tektite is a fantastic product of oftentimes nickel iron meteorite impacting sand, carrying the extraterrestrial jolt of that energy impact into creation. Black tektite, being a black ray stone, has a very powerful ground black ray up fortification of the entire light body from the bottom to the top, which is a great foundational threshold increasement of raising vibrations in a very obvious way. Oh, my paperweight's misbehaving. All this excitement. And so the aspect of the three tektites together make for a dynamic, intensive cosmic energy alignment crystalline structure that, of course, since all these components are wire wrapped together and terminated to a primary wire, generate an entirety of vibrational compound interest with the three cosmic yielding devices in tandem with Petersite. Saying that out loud as a rock enthusiast, rather, of course, devoted, to put it nicely, crystalline enthusiast, and with this construct is quite ambitious and very aggressive. And to round out this frequency would be the two quantum families of ruby and blue sapphire. So ruby is the quintessential root chakra stimulant of great intensity and well notarized precious stone since antiquity as a very powerful root chakra stimulant, which is very much the zest for life hydrogen induction output right there in ruby. Then its perfect antithesis right here will be blue sapphire. Blue sapphire is a tremendous window mental 5th and 6th chakra stimulant of great royal virtue and wisdom, hence also a very famous precious stone of antiquity that literally almost everybody's heard of these two stones because they're so precious in the morphic field of human collective belief that they have great faith placed in, which gives them more power, essentially. So these classic stones of many different, of course, cultures across the globe at this point have really tremendously appreciated these stones as precious notorieties, particularly even like Ayurvedic utilization. But that's a whole rabbit hole I will negate right now because I want to stay on topic. And so the aspect also having the red in the most intense, oftentimes 8.5 to 9 out of hardness out of 10, is a very dense atomical stimulation of the root chakra in tandem with the blue sapphire, a very dense atomical stimulation of the blue ray. So together, the aspects of hydrogen to be the output, and then of course the oxygen of blue would in theory bring a great amount of perpetual regeneration through oxygen-hydrogen stimulation simultaneously as part of the subroutine. And so that would be the entirety of the construct notarized. But the big aspect also, of course, like I've mentioned thrice, is that this can be technically worn on the finger to intensify the yield of the construct, and wherever it's adjustable, like I mentioned, on a dragon, that can of course be wielded like so, or just during sessions, one Zoom or whatnot, what the practitioner does, and just have this ambient frequency in the background to bring great amount of insight and magical broadcast for those under the jurisdiction of the wielder and practitioner, or I should say practitioner. And that's the big idea. And so for this guy to be worn on the finger is a very dynamic, intensive light body activator that's quite dramatic in its potential vibratory yield, particularly for its size ratio. And is very much the idea too of exponential expansion is to have this frequency on tap, even worn on a finger during a session, for example, to dramatically intensify the exponential expansion. To of course, be a very powerful illumination frequency of great insight for the practitioner to highlight the service that is provided for those under the jurisdiction of the wielder is a big prerogative of exponential expansion as well. Well, that'll probably be enough right there. Getting close to 20 minutes of this crystalline dissertation. I think that's probably getting close to covering it. So that would basically be it. And, well, 1,000 blessings, and I pray that everybody has an exponential expansion of a day.